Maybe.
Turn on, tune in, and do it fast. It's time for the Evercast. Are you ready to greet Ed, Rich, Crow, and Pete as they talk Evercade? Good times will never fade. Put away the switchblade, sheath the sword of Vienna. Stop the blaster master, there's no enemy below as we dip into euphoria. Turn on, tune in, and do it fast. It's time for the Evercast.
Welcome to the Evercade podcast, everybody. Hope y'all are doing awesome. What's up, fellas?
The sky.
It's warm here today. It's nice. It's a good day. It's a good day.
Wonder if Rich is going to Gandalf in.
Really, what's the temperature over there? Because it's pretty.
It right now is 16 degrees, so it's going to get up 25 degrees Celsius. I'd say about 75 today.
Oh, it's 46 right now here.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
80s, 90s, and
I ain't doing the math, so it's gonna. Yesterday was pretty warm too. It was probably like 70 degrees yesterday.
it's too early for math.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
Probably about 70 again today, as I check my phone.
65 here.
Albuquerque. Oh, Vidal made a song about that.
Oh
What,
my god!
Albuquerque?
Yes, he did. I didn't see that
Albuquerque.
live.
That's
I
so
assume ABQ is Albuquerque. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Albuquerque just sounds like food. Food.
Let's see who
That
we
just
have in the
reminds
chat.
me of the Simpsons episode where Homer goes, "Occasionally, I'll be quirky." Albuquerque.
Albuquerque. Oh, I need to charge my Pokemon Go.
Oh my god! All right, so who do we got? We got Ballistic Coffee Boy. Got some members of the channel, got Lloyd JRM, Jason Shears, Morley, got Crypto Coffee, Phantom of the Fiction, Blunners, Joe Whitlash. I love saying that name. Another name I love saying. Dan
I
Ruff,
know this because I watched Breaking Bad. Yeah, I tried to watch that show.
Gene of Jokes. All right. So yeah, definitely. I mean, there was. Well, for me, it was. I don't know, kind of big news enough that I'd make a video. But I want to talk about polls first because I think when we talk about this, it'll be a good topic. Hey, and Immortalness. And we got Thunder Force, and My Life Matters too, man. But I love people's names, what they call themselves. It always cracks me up. So let's go to polls. Oh my god, I need to change my thing, or else no one will know what we're talking about. So I asked this question for like a specific reason. Because
Hope
like
that's why
every
you ask any question.
would you use a flash card on your favorite console and give you the same nostalgia as using real cards? Because sometimes I think about doing this myself, but there's a little bit of a cost investment. You know, it's kind of like, why would you do that versus emulation? Evercade is all emulation, right? But you know, like let's say like a Genesis. Yeah, go ahead.
For some people, I'd say it would, and for some people, I don't know. It's like because once you put the cartridge in the system, you're not looking at the cartridge or the system anymore. You're playing the game. So
Yeah.
I think that they're fairly cheap. You can get like an EverDrive for like $60, right, or a flash card. So I mean, as long as you're playing the games, I could care less. I could care less how you're playing.
yeah, it really depends on which flash card and what system because those prices they're all over the place. And
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
It's looking at it. It's well for me. Like it was a big difference to get the Game Boy Chromatic because I really wanted the feel of a Game Boy and a better screen. And and I was like, do other people care about something physical? But only 20% said yes, though. And some people are like, well, it's better than nothing. 8%. This was higher at one point. They said they'd rather use emulation. But no, it's
well, here's the thing though too. It's like emulation. Honestly, that's kind of why I'm selling like the vast majority of the stuff I have off is because, to be honest, even though I have the stuff, if I'm going to play a game, I usually just go straight to emulation anyway because it's the fastest way to play it.
It's easier. You don't have to look up your hardware. Like same as
Exactly.
me, right? Like
Yeah.
the stuff I have in my collection now can't. Most of it, outside of a few things that are personal to me that I bought when in the time that they came out, I pretty much can't emulate Xbox really good. Like, it's really not a good experience. Plus, my Xbox is backwards compatible, so I can play, like, I think, out of my library of Xbox games. If I don't want to play original, I throw it in the 360, and it backwards compats like 500 of those titles, which is awesome. And then if I want to go up one level, I can get another 50 more on a Series X. So, like, for me, it's like, yeah, I'm with you on that one, Crow. Like, but there's certain games that I won't get rid of because they're like personal to me, but I can play them on emulation on my Polymega because I installed them on there. Like my N64 games, they're on my Polymega, so I don't play the physical version of them. I'm just playing the ROM version.
Oh, Rich just posted to our Discord. He said, "I'm Gandalfing around this morning. It was a rough return to the New Jersey area. I'll try to drop in a while if you're still on." So we may see, we may see, we may see, Rich. Oh, not taking the clickbait, Gordon. He likes to cause disruption. He likes to cause.
It's like, every time I come close to buying an Ever SD, I'm like, why? Because like
the FSD is stupid, and he doesn't use it all. Like I said, it's a fake. It's a fake post, or maybe.
Here's the problem: is that you have to. It doesn't work, just out of the box. You have to flash specific firmware onto your device as well. But also, I'm just thinking about it. It was like, if you intended on doing that to start with, why even go with an Evercade? There's plenty of other devices out there that'll just read ROMs off an SD card.
Like, get a lot less work than that. Just get a Raspberry Pi, or something.
Well, that does require a bit of work too, because you still have to find the flash.
No, you can go buy them already set up though if you want.
Yeah, you still have to find it. I mean, it's still in the same camp as finding ROMs and stuff.
Yeah, finding ROMs harder and harder now because of Nintendo, right? But yeah.
But if you do, no, it's the ultimate contrarian device. It's like, what? They're not gonna have Contra on Evercade? I'll show them. It's
actually, you know what though? There is a good use case for the Ever SD, and that's the Evercade Alpha. If they do have, in fact, a way to be able to play that on an Evercade Alpha.
Probably. Now, if you could get blanks, if you could get Evercade blanks, okay, then maybe, and then you could flash I don't know. It seems silly. Here's what's funny though. I love FP tech. It is emulation, but at the hardware level, technically, it cracks me up when people say it's not. It's a different type of emulation.
What is?
FPGA.
Yeah, FPGA is no sacred cow. I think people who say FPGA is sacred cow, I mean, you're just filling your own delusions in your head. It is still a system on a freaking chip. I know. I'm in the world of this. It makes people feel better because it has hardware, but it's emulating the hardware on the chip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like, instead of emulating the software, it's emulating the hardware.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. It's like all those people now get upset with 4K video games because AMD and NVIDIA went and put out their FSR and DLSS 4s that upscales the resolution to 4K. Who gives a crap as long as the player at the end gets a clean image and a fast performance? It's like, stop arguing over BS, right? That's wrong with the world,
right?
That's me. Gamers in general, I've said it in all my life. We are the worst humans on earth sometimes when it comes to protectionism in our favorite hobby. It is crazy. Who cares? Play it where you want to play.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Once you're not hurting someone, you're fine.
Exactly. I agree with you in the Ever SD when the end of life of Evercade, which could kind of sort of possibly be a real thing, but I think it's going to be.
I think it's probably we're a couple years out from them doing an Evercade 2. I mean, why not? It's getting cheaper, right? Hardware's getting so much cheaper these days. So if they do an Evercade 2 and say there's backwards compat, which they probably can't do because of licensing, but I mean, I think if they now switched out to Evercade 2, a little better hardware, I don't think they get any bad will. I mean, they supported this product 5 years. I mean, geez, and so many titles. I think it's so good.
If they made it backwards compatible, I don't know why they wouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah, they'd have to put probably the Evercade inside of it.
Here's the
Maybe.
reason for
Maybe
the,
they'll do FPGA.
well, here's my
Evercade
logic.
understood.
Okay, think about like the PS2, the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
The original PlayStation 3 was backwards compatible with PS1.
No, the
It had
original was
PS1 and
hardware
PS2.
backwards
Yeah, it had
compatible.
hardware in it.
Yeah.
But later on, they switched it to software for the PS2, so it was emulating PS2.
And they
But
only did
they
that
didn't
for one
have
model.
lockouts for because of licensing. So
Yeah, they
I
only
don't
did
know.
that for one model, and then they got rid of it. And then the PS1 was always emulated on the PS3.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But it was on the PS2. It had the PS1 hardware in it, right?
Yes,
Because
emulation wasn't really a big thing then. Yeah, every PS2 has a PS1 built into it, pretty much.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think the PS2 was emulating for
Maybe
PS1.
the PS2 Slim. That might have come out during the emulation kind of taking off more and more. But I'm pretty sure it still had a PS2.
I'm pretty
on
sure.
PS1.
Because if you think about it, if it did have an issue, there'd be a list of games that wouldn't work on it.
Yeah, no, Gene, they dropped the PS2 support when they revised it.
Yeah, it was the PS2 support.
You can always play PS1 games on PS3, every model.
Not getting the name.
And then you got the PS5 where it won't play PS1, 2, or 3 unless you rebuy the game.
Immortal,
Like
you're
digitally.
awesome. FPGA is a great golf tour.
Yeah.
FPGA.
Oh my god. Yes, the type of shenanigans. So yeah, it's I just kind of found that because every now and then, sometimes,
You're right. I totally agree with you, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it's not to the point though. I think like the fact they support it for 5 years, like if they just said, "Hey, Evercade 2 is coming next year in 2026," I don't think anybody should really get upset with them. I think that they're good to go and do that now.
Here's
I don't know why they would do it, but
here's what I wish Evercade would kind of. I don't know if you've seen like Metal Jesus Rocks' latest video where he covered like the Polymega and the different collections.
Yeah, I watched that. He's one of my favorite YouTubers, and I know him, so I know him like so many times. I've talked to him. He's such a good dude.
I like him because I feel like he's one of the few YouTubers who does get sent a bunch of free stuff, but he's honest.
Yeah,
about
and he was mixed on those. You can tell he was mixed, right? Like I think he at the end of the day, he liked half of them, trying to figure out who's it for. But I love the fact that he said, "Yeah, they're going after the Evercade market," which they certainly are.
And so it kind of made me think, and I kind of wish Blaze would have done this in the beginning. Like if they had like the Pac-Man collection and they had like every version of it, I think that would have kind of been a neat. Maybe not everybody would have liked multiple copies. That, and here's another thing that got me thinking: what if the next Evercade model? What if it was more like CD-ROM based or read only, and like the games that I think that would be that's what I would like of the Evercade 2. Make it read only.
You want a CD base? I don't know. I kind of like it because it's not CD based.
Yes, but I also want something where the carts aren't involved. Where like you don't have to worry about like issues with the carts.
But then if you go back to like CDs or DVDs, you have to go back to discs being scratched. And you're not really going to have a portable system anymore.
That's the problem, the portable, yeah. But if you just installed them once on your thing and left them on a shelf, but yeah.
That's what my Polymega is. They beat them to the punch, and Polymega does carts.
Yeah.
Except the Polymegas, it's too expensive. That's the.
Yeah, they're not readily available.
Yep, with all that, and I think actually it's kind of funny. Like if the Polymega had come out at the right price point, then I might have been like the Polymega effect.
I got it at the right price point because I pre-ordered it 4 years before it got delivered. So I was like one of the few that paid like $300 for it total, all in the entire and all the modules at the time.
Yeah,
I just had to wait 4 years to get it. That's all.
All the modules, or like at least if you had like Super Nintendo, Genesis, regular, that's what maybe you got those modules, but we need more.
I need a kick at them because I ordered it, and then when they started shipping stuff, they resent me the same 4 sets of modules twice. So I've got an extra 2 sets of modules just sitting in boxes for free.
Nice. Yeah, no, I agree, Gene. It's not because it's way too expensive, and it's not readily available.
Well, now that they got Atari Cash, I can see them. They're working hard now to put out the PC application for their discs. I don't know. It's all they're so expensive, right? Because it is a pretty at the time, like, you know, a decent computer for emulation in there. So
Yep. All right, so let's. We'll see if Rich pops on during this time or not. So yes, this made me happy, and I hate to like, and that's why like I made a video on this, and I hate to say I was
What is
right,
it?
and I'll explain why.
What is
Okay, don't kid us. You don't hate to say you're right. You always say you're right.
That's because I'm, like I said, video games and like IT, two things I know, two things I consider myself an expert in. So that's why I get passionate. I'd like, I like to think I know what I'm talking about because, well, so to give some context, I did a video and I just said, hey, based upon the viewers on my channel for Evercade, there's like 30% interest of people are from the United States and Canada. And I was kind of saying that even if it was only 10%, I don't think Blaze could afford to lose the business. I think that the Evercade for the niche market is quite popular in those two countries. And so basically they're moving the pre-order date because of the tariffs and all that, which is odd. That's why I said like Blaze, they did the right thing.
What did they do?
About this.
Explain what they did.
So, okay, we're moving the pre-order date the end of May. This will allow much opportunity as possible to pre-order the new cartridge. This will allow further updates from the current U.S. Tariffs and import duties. With this move, the date of the cartridge will now be August 25th. We apologize, blah, 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 blah. And then they said, we know that many fans of the U.S. are querying about the availability of Evercade products in the region. This is awesome. We recently signed a new distribution deal for the U.S. and Canada, and we hope upon resolution of the current tariff situation, we can improve the Evercade availability in the U.S. going forward. Awesome. Like, that's like, in my opinion, that's like...
Get it. What are they doing?
Oh my God. So basically, because of the potential...
I kept reading this, and it doesn't make sense. Are they just delaying it for everybody just because of potential tariffs in the U.S.?
Yes. Oh my God. Okay.
Makes sense. Why not just delay it for the U.S.?
It's fine. So basically, here's what they're doing, right? So imagine this. Let's say if they ignore this and they just decided, hey, we're still going to sell them off of fun stock. Other people in the world would be able to get it. Except in the U.S., the prices could potentially be crazy because VGA has pulled them, Songbird has pulled them. So basically, they're respecting that. Hey, there's customers in the United States that want this. We're gonna delay the carts so they can catch up, which I think is awesome because I questioned at some point, are places still gonna sell them? Is it gonna be difficult to buy them? So it's kind of a big deal.
Who's
so
the new distribution they set up with? I wonder. Because hopefully they have someone in Canada doing it. If not, I'm just going to continue to order from Funstock. Like, I got no other choice. I can't order from the U.S.
Yeah. I kind of agree with I Heart Retro. I think that these are going to be delayed a month anyway because they always delay everything a month.
Yeah, I'm with you too on that. I don't think
now they have an scapegoat. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why you can pre-order them early. That makes no sense. Like, wasn't it just pre-ordering 2 days early now instead of June 1st? Now it's May 30th. Like, why? Why that?
Well, yeah, they're moving it out because.
But they're moving it into May by 2 days. Yet they're delaying the release. This makes no sense. What they're saying. I get what they're saying with the distribution. That makes sense because they want to have two different distribution deals so people don't have to order from wherever. But the other part doesn't make sense. So, like, why would they?
I mean, it does, but they're just buying time to let the dust settle. That's kind of
I know, but the tariffs have been in effect anyway, and they're not being canceled. So by moving them early, they're assuming they're not going to be canceled. They should have moved them much later and assumed that Trump would cancel the tariffs.
Thank you. Thanks for the translation game. They're afraid. Exactly, they're afraid of scalpers. Exactly, they're afraid of scalper putting them on there. Because people already pissed.
People in the U.S. won't buy them because they'll all have Peggy logos on them. Nobody will want them.
Well, good thing you're not their only customer. No, I'm kidding. But I think this is awesome. Like, dude, this is the time that they're playing it safe because, and that's what I've been saying. Like, if they
BF says they've said that the price would go up by $10 if they kept it in June. No. Yes, it makes perfect sense. If one pre-orders now at $29, the cost would be $39 a month. Oh, so they moved it into May So you could get the card at 29 instead of June 1st when it would be 39. Okay, that's what they said. All right.
And then I've heard like Songbird is gonna honor like all pre-orders, but I mean this could like something like some of the small businesses which Evercade sells through, they may not be able to afford to carry this. Dude, they do care about scale. I mean, they do. I mean, that's why they brought back. I mean, listen, Blazes already had distribution. That's why like this is like the one thing like I'm like defending them on. I thought this was awesome because to me it would be sad if there were all these cards that either I couldn't get or they would be too expensive to get and everyone else would get them. And to be honest, I think that if they lose, especially if they lose the U.S. market, then I think that starts like a crumbling effect. That's just because how it is. Video games are a big deal here. I mean, they are other places, but especially.
I still don't even know what is this tariff like from the UK, because what is the policy right now? What is the policy?
Yeah, so it's a U.S. against Chinese goods being brought in.
Where do you think this tariff made?
Does the United States, did they tariff the UK also? Is that it?
Well, Trump initially tariffed everybody, but as far as I was aware, it's only against China now.
So I don't want this to turn political, but the obvious thing is that like everything pretty much electronics is made in China, like a bunch of stuff, and so it affects 10% all countries. So it could be just a minor increase. What's interesting though is when I ordered for my birthday a game for the Chromatic that shipped from Canada, and I was able to get it. But that's kind of the thing. Like all orders are being placed on hold for Evercade, and they're trying to see how it is because they already increased the price by $5. I mean, Evercade is more volatile at that price point. If they get to be like $50 a cart, that would be ridiculous. Like I don't think people can pay that.
Yeah, okay. I'm fine either way. Whatever they do, it's fine. I don't really care.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think it was a right because here's my whole thing. If Blaze will remember, like with like the Tomb Raider collection, they delayed that out because they needed to have the new handheld ship since they're a hardware company. Like if they'll delay a cart because of other hardware, I'm glad that they'll do this. So I thought this was a great. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation. 20%, 10%. They're playing it smart by holding off. I was just kind of amazed, like the amount of reactions and butthurt, like from that Discord post, and to some other people. So like, I don't understand.
Okay, well, so if the tariff is 10% and a cartridge is $30, won't they just increase the price $3?
Yeah, if that's but there could be some other like duties and other bullshit taxes and. You know what I mean? There's lots of unknowns.
So pretty much because the United States of America, we all got screwed. That's pretty much it. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's why the reason why I say I was right is that they recognize that there's a big market in the United States for Evercade, and that's what I've been trying to say.
Of course. I think the U.S. is probably 50% of the market. I'd say Canada's probably 10%. The rest is Europe. I would think, like Europe and England. I think that's probably how it unfolds. I would say that. Just because that's generally the video game world. Like, it's for most gaming outside of like Korean games and the Chinese market, which we don't know about. I think US is probably 50 to 60% of the gaming revenue. That bears out in all games. When you look at your sales data, 60% of all revenue, whether it's sports games, MMOs, whatever, that's a Western created game or European created game, US is always the number one market. Just it. They dominate. Because everybody's got life is so good, right? Life is so good in the US. Everybody's got, tons of money and, free time.
Something, No, see, exactly. And that's the other thing to the Neo Geo market. They really wanted to crack US. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, because Neo Geo, I think, is really big in the U.S. and Japan. Not so much. Probably that's the two big markets, right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, people wouldn't be. See, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing too. People wouldn't be happy with another increase. Like their timing for that was kind of.
Okay, let me ask this. Now, so the Nintendo Switch, they delayed the pre-orders because of tariffs. Now, I know the pre-orders did go up.
Yeah, they didn't raise the price of the game console.
So I was going to ask that they raised the price because I wasn't paying attention.
They raised the price of the accessories by 10%.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, but not the console. So they're basically eating it on the console, but not the
consoles
accessories.
And games are the same price. They didn't raise the.
So you know what?
Raise accessories. They raised accessories by 10%.
so this is a great discussion because what Nintendo is doing is it's like I don't agree with it, but they have a brilliant plan for killing physical media, which is kind of making the Evercade. So like basically what they're doing is all the Nintendo first party games you can get on physical media, right? They haven't released to third party developers how much those 64 gig cards cost, but I think they're charging people too much.
That's
because
a lie.
no, it's like, dude,
I'm
it's
telling
not-
you, don't argue with me on that.
If it's
That is a
Nintendo,
lie.
it's a lie. Yeah, whatever they do is a lie.
I know,
No.
I know the price
No,
of the
let me
64
finish. And
gig,
but listen, I'm not making this up. I got from the YouTubers is that you'll see that
He's
basically
not making it up. He got it from YouTubers.
Ed,
this is
Ed,
what
Ed,
again, if I can talk about
Ed, developers know the price of the 64 gig cards.
okay, how much are the 64 gig cards then?
I cannot tell you.
Okay, so then let me finish what I was saying to speculate. A lot of third-party company, basically like the Nintendo Switch it's turning into what a CD is, right? You put in the thing, it downloads a key. So imagine indie games. If Nintendo is charging like $20 for their card, then they're going to try to sell an indie game for like $40 or $50. Even if it's $10, that's still too expensive. So Nintendo that's why I said they're doing this on purpose.
There was 4 price tiers on the original Switch for pricing. 4 price tiers. As a developer and a publisher, you get to choose which price tier you want for the size of the card, and it starts at 2 gigabytes and it goes up into 64. And Nintendo manufactures all of the cards.
Yep.
They manufacture just like they've always done. They've always manufactured. So whereas like the developer and publisher don't control that. So you choose. The majority of people would choose the second cheapest tier because that was probably the less you had to pay. Because the 1 or 2 megabytes this cart size it's not even relevant because you can't even get your first part of your boot flow in on a game. What they've done with this one though, they only gave you 2 tiers. So majority of publishers and developers will never choose the expensive tier because they're used to CDs, and CDs they're cheaper and you only have to pay for the stamping of it and you download the rest. So that's what Nintendo's done. They've just gone where PlayStation and Xbox have been for like the last 2 generations. That's what they've done. They've not given other options, which I think as a game like collector, it really sucks because it puts indie games at a bad position. But if your indie games are less than 10 gigabytes, you're still fine. You're in the cheap tier. You're just not in the cheap tier that you were before on Switch 1. So they've just went where PlayStation, Xbox have been for 2 generations.
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what I was going to say.
That's all they've done. And
people, like you're saying, the game key thing. That's exactly what the PlayStation, Xbox games have been already. It's like, what game do you put in and it doesn't install and download from the internet?
Well, there is something you guys should worry about, though. They haven't gone official yet and said, is that game key locked to the first install?
Yes, that's true. That's another thing.
They haven't communicated that yet to anyone.
Well,
I'm just going to go zip.
So that's why I don't know why you'll disagree with me when basically you're saying that. Anyways.
Like I don't hate on Nintendo for doing it. They just took 2 generations to get there. That's all.
You should though, because one of the reasons people like the Switch 1 is it was like the last physical media that you could get stuff.
Yeah, but you got to understand too. That was as someone who has mostly indie games, I love it because they're all on the card. But majority of AAA were never always on the cartridge. They were always downloads. People will say that in chat too. Almost 90% of AAA was not on the card. Yeah, so they've been going this way. So I don't really hate on Nintendo. It's one of the few things I wouldn't hate on them for. But yeah, they just were late to the party, and I don't think it's their responsibility to save physical game media. To be honest with you, no company's responsibility there. Just makes Evercade a better proposition for people like us. That's all.
Exactly. No, they're doing the same thing that they did with like the PS1 back in the 64, where their cards were too expensive, and CD. Yeah, in CD format.
They were more expensive because it was more expensive to produce a cartridge than a CD.
Yeah, that was they just went that direction. Yeah, and that was more of a falling out with Sony at the time too.
Yeah, so history repeats itself. That's what I said. This has been all over like YouTube or whatnot for people.
But again though, I wouldn't hate on Nintendo for that. I think they've been protecting physical media longer than any other studio any other first party group, really.
Well, yeah, that's because in Japan they love physical media.
Yeah, parts of Europe too because their internet sucks.
Yes. It just exactly, and that's what's sad. That's what they're doing. Is it's just a.
I'm not buying any Switch 2 physical games. Maybe a couple. If Mario Kart, I don't know if Mario Kart's fully on the cart. If I can get that, I'll play it. But
I bet it's not.
Like I'm done collecting physical games. Like I'm like.
Yeah, actually, I'm in exactly the same camp.
For a while now. It's just
actually other than the Evercade, the only stuff I'm buying physically is from Atari.
It's me as the Evercade and the Polymega as the two physical things I'll buy now. That's it. Polymega is more of like I'm in now. Might as well. That Tomato game looks fun though. I haven't got that one yet because of tariffs. I'm waiting for tariffs to leave before I order anything from the U.S. because I don't want to get double the cost.
Well, see. That's the thing, dude. Like when you like, I don't like that would make me mad. Like when you were talking about you ordered a game and had to pay twice as much.
Yeah, there's a healthy date for the United States of America and Canada right now.
Like that's dude, that's nonsense. If I had that happen to me, I would refuse to pay it, send the thing back, and I would do a chargeback.
Well, put it this way: my brother's American, his family's American, and we're supposed to go visit him spring break, and we canceled our trip because, like it's just. It's sad because there's like 99% of all Americans are great people. It's that 1% running your country that needs a good boot in the ass.
Oh, well, that's true too. I do buy physical pinball machines.
Yeah, I don't know where you put them.
They're right behind me.
But the thing though, I'm just like saying with that, it's not a coincidence that of course like you have the option to get Nintendo first party games on physical media. Like that was done by design.
Because they're not paying for the carts. That's why.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what though? Those are the most that's the most collectible type of games on Nintendo platforms anyway, are the Nintendo properties. Like they are so desired because Nintendo does something that they don't compromise the price of their first party games. You notice that? They're never on sale for more than $5 off or $10 off. Like
yeah.
Because Nintendo being greedy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, we can't say anything about being greedy. We live in two of the countries, the best free markets in the world. That's all about capitalism. We don't have a leg to stand on with greed. We exist because of that.
But yeah, even though with this, like, let's say with the Nintendo Switch, the small price, but here's the thing, like, especially with like the Steam Deck, like, well, I mean, Steam has always been popular, but like, if I was an indie developer, like from a business standpoint, it would make no sense to put anything on a physical cart because it's like, hey, it's cutting into my profits. I can just throw it on Steam or any other digital store. So that's what's gonna happen. But I do think it's kind of funny though, where like some console gamers find this as a surprise because like digital gaming has been a thing for what plus 20 years, like in the PC gaming market. So it's like it's really nothing new. But what I did think was hilarious that was, or some people said that like this is an opportunity for like Evercade to gain some footing in the gaming market, and I'm like, no, Evercade is too niche.
Yeah, they would need day and date releases of indie games to do that. Like,
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why I think if they were really smart or stupid, depends on who you ask, they would do the Evercade 2 that could be an indie slaying machine if they wanted to really go after that. I just don't think they're big enough to go. They don't have enough capital for that probably. But like, any new indie game comes out now, why not? Like, if they had a hardware that could run it, but they can't run anything that's coming out now, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's that. I think it's and I'm hoping this will. I think it's hubris, and I keep saying that for Blade because they're really in love with like the computer collections, and Blaze is really in love with kind of pushing that niche of those games that they grew up with and they played that like really aren't like the best of games, but they love them, and I get that. And I like to use the analogy like, yes, do I love like Pac-Man 2 for the 2600? Is it a total crap game? Yes. Are there better versions of Pac-Man? Yes. That should never be on an Evercade cart.
Yeah, but that's what gets nostalgia for someone like me, who I can remember when that came out. I was 8 years old on my Atari. Playing that Pac-Man allowed me to save so much money because 25 cents a Pac-Man, that was a lot of money in 1980. But it was on the Atari. I'm like, that's what I got nostalgia for, even though it's an inferior version of Pac-Man. Everybody would agree. But that nostalgia is strong because when I see it, I play it, and I'm like, oh, I want the cart that's on there.
I get that, but like for me, because like that was the only option. But then like you see the arcade version or any other, I don't know. For me, I see any other version, and I'd rather play that. But
Here's the
if they
thing,
did
is
a
like,
collection with all the versions of Pac-Man, then that would be cool.
Because
But
you don't have nostalgia for that game. Because you weren't alive when it came out, right? I was alive and a kid, and I love it. That's nostalgia.
that was
I
actually
do-
the very first version of Pac-Man I ever played.
I do have nostalgia for it, and on the 2600, I'm just saying that like I recognize that there's better. I'd rather play the better version. Like
I get what you're saying. I'm just telling you. I'm just saying that's nostalgia for me.
I think the problem is that sometimes with the nostalgic, like it can have too much of the rose-colored glasses effect. That's all.
Well, of course, that's 100% what nostalgia is.
And while we might like that, there's a lot of people that don't, and that's what I'm trying to say with Blaze, right? Like, and that's why I'm glad with Neo Geo they're trying to tap more into those other markets. They're trying to tap more, and they need to do that with indie. Like, I agree 100%. It needs to be an indie slang machine.
I've been saying it for years. If they gave up on everything else and only done indie, I would be happier than a pig in shit. Because
And it would do well.
Again,
yeah.
500 Nintendo Switch games behind me. 540 of them are indie games. Paid less than $20 for. I
don't know if they would do well because the people that are already, because the people that are outside looking in are not going to recognize any of the games. I mean, I think a lot of people are getting in because
I don't care about if they're successful. I just want my games on there.
Okay. Here's the thing, right? Like, and again, if I just go to like my YouTube statistics, like between 35 and 45, or actually between like around the 40 and 45, at least my channel is the most.
That's your age demographic?
Around, like the youngest is 35. It's around 40 to 45 is my age demographic. And
wow, you really know that? Jesus, how do you know that?
Because YouTube tells you. And so
I don't really care.
One of the main demographics for retro gaming stuff is Gen X, right?
Oh, your audience you're looking at.
Yes, my audience. And
what do you think he was looking at?
Yeah. And the point I want to make is, so with Gen X, I didn't even know growing up that there, and which is great because like Amber and a few other people, I didn't even know there was a video game crash, right? All I knew was that there was Atari and that there was Nintendo. I didn't know about like Commodore 64 or any of this other stuff. Other people in Europe can brag, oh well, we had this and we had this and that, but we didn't notice that in the United States, and we didn't really care growing up, right? So
well, I kind of suspected something because
my audience are women. This is awesome.
I kind of suspected something because on the Commodore 64 there's a pound key, and occasionally they would spell some of the words wrong.
Jason, you're so right, buddy. Greatest generation of all time.
So what I'm kind of saying is like that's like
a lot of users over 65. That's awesome.
That's like their
boomers.
That's like that. Gen X is at least for my, which makes sense. Is kind of
we're the greatest generation.
Yeah,
thank you.
And it kind of bleeds into
the new greatest generation.
Yeah. Thanks, thanks, Ed, for all the respect. I appreciate it, buddy. You millennials. Wait, what are you, Ed? Gen Z?
Hold on. Because Immortal gave $5. I have to play. Oh crap! I don't have. Hold on.
Bad host. Not even ready with these stuff.
I gotta switch over. to. Oh no, Crow disappeared. There we go.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh yeah, I am the cream. Nobody does it better.
Okay, I had to do that.
Oh man, Macho Man, cringe.
Macho Man. I am the 47 here. Yeah, usually 40. Like, and that's why I kind of say 45 to 50 because Gen X can kind of still like fit into that. But it's an interesting. I could do a whole thing. Thanks, Immortal. Because with Gen X, we grew up in analog technology, and we appreciate, but we were there for the digital transformation, and we understand and appreciate that kind of better than anyone else. And it's a unique. It's kind of like when the horse and buggy was was there, and then like the car came out. It's kind of like, and that's why we like this analog stuff, right? Yeah, no, that's what I'm that age.
Wait, what's analog now?
I'm that age here.
Analog computers is analog.
I don't know what computer anymore. All I know is we got 60 viewers online, so Ed, keep talking about generations. It seems to be working.
But I just But yeah, so no, the point I'm trying to make is that Evercade is tapped into that market. They need to continue to go with the flow for that they need to continue to go with the flow.
I trust in Evercade. I mean, I trust in Blaze. They've done a great job so far. They've had speed bumps and stupid decisions, but overall, I mean, Jesus, who thought this was going to last 5 years ago?
True.
I had no idea.
No one else they do an awesome job and have a complete package of things. Yes, I agree. They've made like a lot of stupid decisions, but they're still here.
Hey, switch your background. I'm gonna have a seizure looking at that. Whatever you got going on, that neon.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. I can. That's because that's my background.
It's not.
There we go. There's
animated,
Evercast background.
It's just
there
ugly.
we go. Just for you, Pete.
R-Type.
Yeah, dude, I'm probably 16 years old at heart. So I understand. But yeah, it made me happy that Blaze like recognized, hey, there's a market out here. Maybe maybe since we're getting some love this way, maybe we can get some more love with different more collections and things. I wish, dude, but unfortunately, I'm not that privileged to have had one. But I wish. My intelligence stopped around the time the Dreamcast got discontinued. ADS95, long time no see. Ridge Racer seems accessible now. That would be cool, dude. Yeah, and that's like, and I think that's the type of stuff that I think we want to see. Patience is a virtue. I hope so. But definitely, it would have put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth if they were like, nope, we're still going to release them through Fun Stock. You can only buy them through the Fun Stock overlords. You're going to have to pay all this crap on top of, and like I think Rich is the rare exception. Like he orders directly from Fun Stock, and that's
because he likes getting free socks.
No patience.
I prefer all my socks to be the same. That way I don't have to worry about matching them.
How many would complain about the driver tutorial?
Yes, apparently the driver tutorial in what driver game was it? The Driver 3 was very, very difficult to complete. So a lot of people never made it past the tutorial of the game, which was mandatory.
Oh, kind of like Glover. God, yeah, I don't know if I made it past that stupid tutorial.
That tutorial in Glover is not mandatory. You don't have to play the tutorial.
Well, that's good.
Did you not make it past the tutorial in Glover?
I think because at that point I was just so sick of the controls, but I maybe should go back and use analog sticks.
Yeah, try an analog controller. I never even tried it without an analog controller.
Yeah, the game is very difficult to play with it. But yeah,
is it Driver 1? I thought it was Driver 3. Maybe Driver 3 is the one that was really bad. Okay, so yeah, Driver 1. Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't played any Driver game, so
I hate when I'll suck anyone for free. I hate when games like make you go through tutorial. Actually, I was playing like RoboCop. I was skipping past the cutscenes. I was like, damn it, let me get into the stupid game.
You got to watch the cutscenes. How else are you supposed to know what you're doing?
It's a first-person shooter. You just go and shoot stuff.
You're not interested the least bit in what the story is?
No, a game like that, no. Because like a game like Doom, was there really a story? Not really. I just want to get it and shoot it. Like I've already seen the movies. Like there's nothing else that I could possibly need to know.
Is there a new Doom game coming out soon? Isn't it?
Is there?
I think so. Medieval Doom or something. I don't know.
That would be awesome.
I'm trying to figure out how Ghost Rider on the Game Boy Advance did not get sued by Konami for ripping off Castlevania. It's pretty much Castlevania. Even the candles you destroy to get health from.
Ridge Racer Arcade is coming out on Switch. I did not know that. It's launched. Huh.
What's coming out on Switch?
Ridge Racer Arcade?
Oh no, that's the back of the old. That's just
the original Ridge Racer.
The original Ridge Racer, yeah. I love Ridge Racer.
I've got that on PlayStation 1.
Dude, maybe because the Namco collection, that would be awesome. An Namco arcade collection.
I'd be down with Dig Dug on arcade. Dig Dug's one of my favorite games, man. I love Dig Dug. Just because, like, seeing the different levels as you progress, get the different dirt changes in the colors, I just love that. Though it's hard as nuts, though.
Heck yeah. a collection with like Dig Dug and
I
Pac-Man.
spent probably 2 hours playing the Namco collections after our show last week. I put it on my VS and I couldn't stop playing it on the big screen.
Yeah, dude. So isn't it interesting? Even those, let's say, my opinion, are like the inferior versions of the arcade. There's something fun about still playing them on a card.
Dude, yeah,
You know?
it's just Namco games are just amazingly, just really fun gameplay games. The mechanics are so tight on them.
Dig Dug 2600.
Yes.
Ugh.
How am I not dying? Like I'm
I
really
feel
bad.
semi put that as Pac-Man, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like Namco, super popular here, super popular in Japan, obviously, and that would be a huge get. You know, who doesn't love Pac-Man? Or if you do love Pac-Man, you're not human.
The ghosts don't like
I still
Pac-Man.
prefer Pac-Man over Mrs. Pac-Man. I think I might have said that last week. If I'm
Yeah,
repeating myself,
I thought you said it the other way. But I do prefer. I actually like Pac-Man Plus.
Yeah.
Because it's more random.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Rich, did you ever play Game Boy Advance when you were younger?
Not when I was younger. I actually came to Game Boy Advance like way later. Bought my first one when I was working for Circuit City in Philadelphia. So I was 20. Where's Jid up here? What's up? What's going on, Ballistic? But yeah, I bought it because I wanted to play the Lunar game that came out on Advance. And
The Lunar game's out on Switch now, the remaster.
Yeah.
Actually, isn't it on? I think I added it to my wish
on
list
my,
on
PlayStation.
Steam.
It is, but it's $50 though. I was like,
Yeah, I have it on my PlayStation, so I can play it like anytime on Polymega with a lot better. I don't know. Maybe I wonder if Switch version have like scan lines and stuff.
I don't know. I mean, I know you can do like original or remastered, remastered or whatever. I don't know, it's weird. But I am that guy. I'm like a mark for Lunar, so I will probably pick it up at some point.
Yeah, well, you're big into RPGs. You always were.
Yeah.
especially Lunar though. He loves.
What's up, Obsidian? That's awesome. But yeah. So what's going on, guys? Hanging in?
We were talking about lots of. We were just talking about
tariffs.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, this was a good ever delay that they're delaying the Neo Geo card, so everybody in US and Canada, but when
Yeah.
does be able to get it.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I
I think we're saying that they're just using this month, the tariffs as as an excuse for the month delay they would have had anyway.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is kind of funny.
It's
that
you
way.
know, it is what it is. I know the weird thing is we didn't hear anything from Hyper Megatech yet, did we? I didn't check my email this morning, but
No, we haven't.
yeah. So I mean that I'm afraid about the Super Pocket, you know. So because I'm pretty sure I ordered. Did I order I ordered the next set in a bundle with the Super Pocket. So whenever it is and whatever it is,
Hmm.
you know, all those will come together. But you know, I mean, yeah, with that situation it's hard for everybody because no one knows what's going on. And then when you do find out, you wake up the next day and something changes. So
Yeah.
you know, like the best thing to do, I guess, now is just to be, you know, as fans or as even as companies, just be patient, kind of let the waves crash where they are, and then you look at the dust afterwards and you go, all right, let me wipe this off and then just move on. You know, because it's crazy and it's definitely nuts. I've never experienced anything like this as far as like just chaos in the video game realm in a long time. You know, and it's not even affecting just Blaze. You know, like look at what happened to Nintendo last week.
Exactly.
You know? So that was nuts. And then I even tried to get in line. I was on a phone, so that didn't work out for me. But I tried to get in line for a Switch 2, and I had one in my cart. I got all the way to Thursday morning. I got it. I got one in my cart. And,
Did you get it?
No. Yeah, GameStop got me instead. I had it sitting there, and I couldn't, like, this website kept crashing And it wasn't even like you could see it in the background. You actually got the Cloudflare page that said like, your routing is not going to GameStop.com anymore. So I kept refreshing over and over and over again. And then 45 minutes goes by and you're like, all right, this is not happening. But then all of a sudden, like a page came up and it was in the cart and it was ready to go. And I was like, hit the button to try to like do the transaction, and then it failed again. It went to the Cloudflare site, and then I was like, all right, this is done.
Honestly, I think you're better off because they're going to have a revision of it. They're going to fix and make improvements, and it's going to be cheaper, like what happened with the Switch 1. And
yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe. Do you think Nintendo might have been showing their hand with the exclusive model in Japan? Do you think that maybe like in a year that's actually the target price for this thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think because like it's $100 cheaper, yet the only difference is that it's only Japanese.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Nintendo has a bad history of claiming that things are limited just to create more interest. And it wouldn't surprise me if they were doing the same thing with the Switch.
Probably are. They say that there's plenty of stock, but we know there's not plenty of stock. They
went on record, said that that's Nintendo store in Japan. They said less than 500,000 units they thought was too much for that store. They had 2.2 million pre-orders in Japan.
Oh man.
That's unheard of for that population. Like, that's amazing.
What's up, DF? Yeah.
But it wouldn't.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing demand.
Yeah, I just hope it's not scalpers. Like, that's what that fearful. I like how Amazon did theirs. You went in, it was available, but it was available for invite only. And if you get the invite from them to purchase, you're guaranteed to get yours. But the problem, and they only limited the invite. So, like, it was really good, right? Because then a bot can't do that.
I'll say, if you guys hear people know that, so if y'all haven't yet watched the Skeletor video, I posted the link to it about the Nintendo Switch 2. It explains everything exactly.
How did that guy get around the copyright for using that? I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know.
I actually OLED. I'm not I gotta be honest with you guys. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of just OLED screens. Like, I think there's I know a lot of people are, but I find the HDR on them is just so overused, and I find a lot of times it just the way they implement it washes out the color sometimes. I like a good LCD screen. I really do. A really high-end LCD screen it's the blacks people get up. Oh, the black's not black. I'm like, how many games do you play that's all black? Right? Like, come on. I try OLED HDR. I turn it off. I find it just desaturates stuff to the point that it's unless you got a lumen technology in your game, which that's PC, right? They don't have that on consoles. So HDR sometimes just washes stuff out, and really hard to light when HDR comes in and washes all your lighting out. It's crazy. So anyway, that's just my opinion.
Thank you for saying that, Pete, because ever since they introduced OLED screens and the Switch, I thought that OLED was way oversaturated. It looked like crap from what I've seen.
See, OLED on PS Vita is great because there was no such thing as this HDR technology that, it was probably it probably was invented, but it wasn't being used regularly. But right now, the people who tune it is just so bad. It's like if you watch modern movies, they're all everything's exposed constantly on the screen. But if you go back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, before this full digital revolution, there's so much more depth in movies, and the same as in a lot of cinematic games. It's just, it drives me nuts because the technology is only as good as what people use it with, and I find HDR is oversold. It's just oversold, and I just don't really like it.
HDR, yeah. I think OLED is weird because it's kind of funny because I think the same people that hype up OLED are probably the same people who own CRTs, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. To me, I don't know. OLED just distorts the way video games look. It's too saturated.
Yeah, my PS Vita OLED was great. I loved it, and I got the LCD model, and I'm like, you know what? The screen is not as good, but it's still awesome. And yeah, it's just a combination of HDR with OLED that pisses me off.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Actually, I've wondered if I wouldn't like fall asleep watching that. Now.
I never play my Switch in handheld. That's why you don't comment on my Switch videos. 90% of my Switch is handheld.
So I mean, I don't know, turn into some movie cast, whatever. But 2001 is like the slowest burn possible.
Mm-hmm.
But the last third of that movie is like nail biting.
True.
It's just it's such a wild swing too, because
Kubrick
you're like
is such
you have
a
no idea what's going on,
enigma, man.
and then all of a sudden you get to the end and you're like, what? Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. No, it's a rad one. Also, I Heart Retro had a comment just a little bit up from there. Yeah, there we go. I'll get a Switch 2 when I can walk into a store, buy one. That's where I'm at.
People are like that.
That's where I'm at. I tried. I took a swing. I went up and I tried to do the pre-order thing. Online doesn't work for me. If I was at home, I would have already had one.
I miss lining
I
up.
go to my
stores.
local GameStop. I would have been in there in line. I would have made it happen. And then that's good. But
I miss lining up in stores. That's how I got my PS3.
yeah,
That's how I got my Wii.
yep.
I made so much money on the Wii, man. I went and got 2 and then sold them for like $1,500 each to buy PS3 games.
Did I ever tell you? So PS3 came out like the week before Wii.
Yeah, and I lined up PS3. And my buddy picked one up for me too because he wasn't a gamer.
Yeah.
So I had 2 PS3s, sold one for like I think $1,200 to PS3, but the Wii went nuts. Remember the Wii went nuts?
Yeah.
I made more on my Wiis than I did on the PS3.
Well,
the day before I decided I was going to get one, and I wound up lining up at midnight for one.
Yeah, I wasn't married then, so my credit card was mine to do. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Did I ever tell you guys the PS3 story? The PS3
No.
story? So we lined up.
I've heard this one.
We lined up at Circus City.
Oh man, I remember Circuit City.
And then
Was this while you were working there or not working there?
I was not working there at the time. I was working at Staples at the time.
The other red store.
The other red store, yeah. And
no, the other red store because you got Target too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I was working it in Philadelphia, on Germantown Avenue, and I drove to the Circus City that I used to work at in Bridgewater, New Jersey, in the Somerville Circle. And we camped out for, I think it was a night and a half or 2 nights, something like that. We were there for a really long time, and it's getting towards the end, and we had already figured out allocations. Like we were telling people, like, look, like don't wait. Like we already had the guys count them. Like we're getting one. You're not getting one. Like just don't bother. Like
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then some dude rolls up in like, one of those like hot sports car action or whatever. And he rolls out and he starts walking up and down the line. And he's trying to buy a place in line. And we were thinking of each other, like, I mean, what is his price? Like, what does he really want to offer?
But he would have to pay that person plus everybody behind him. But at least that person, well, what he'd have to do is pay the last person that would get one. Because if he cut in front of somebody, that person that thought they were going to get one all of a sudden wouldn't.
Well, no. So he wanted to see if somebody was going to sacrifice not getting a PS3 at all.
Exactly.
And basically sell them their place in line.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So we went all the way up and down the line, and people were like haggling with him or whatever. And then finally, I was like, if he gets to like me and my brother-in-law were talking about, I was like, if he gets to an insane price, like we should just walk out and go to Best Buy because they were just about to start the line for the Wii, and just go buy Wii's with whatever he gets. And the guy got over $1,000 for a spot in line.
Because the PlayStation 3 back then was still $500.
And I was like, that's insane. Like, if we get out of line, every single one of us in line, there was me, and my 2 brothers-in-law, we were all going to try to get one. If we get out of line, everyone gets a Wii and a game for free. So we just walked.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, you can't do it. Like $1,000.
They didn't have very many PS3s at launch too. I remember it was maybe 10 of us in line, and we called it Future Shop, and eventually Best Buy bought them up here in Canada, but went Future Shop. And there was maybe 10 or 15 of us in line. My buddies with me because it was early in the morning, and we were just drinking coffee, hanging out. And it didn't open till like, I think it was 9 or 10 it opened. So we were there for 4 or 5 hours eating Tim Hortons, drinking coffee, stuff like that, shooting shit. And I can remember they come out and they go, we have limited quantities here. And I'm like, yeah, how limited is limited? We have less than 20. And it was like, we looked at the line. I'm like, oh, it looks like whoever comes after this set for PS3.
Oh, no.
There was more Wii available because we went back for when we were lined up for the Wii.
Yeah.
That lineup was like 50 deep. And I think everybody got Wii's that day. But
yeah, that was the thing that happened for us at Best Buy. We were like 11, 12, 13 in line, I think. And they had a full pallet.
I wasn't planning on
When they came
selling
out,
my
they were like-
Wii's. Like I bought 2 on launch, and one I was like, I might sell this if it takes off. Like, but I'll have it in my back pocket and give it to somebody. Like,
yeah.
But I can remember the day I decided 2 of them were being sold was launch day. I went home, hooked them up to the TV, and I got it out, and I'm like, what? I've got to wave my arms and like all this crap, and like a lot of games didn't have gamepad support. Red Steel, I can remember having that piece of crap game. I just remember being so frustrated with it. I put it all back in the box. Boom. Craigslist, here we go. Sold them all.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am too old to learn how to control video games differently.
I
You
find
know, it's
I
And that was in my 30s. That was like early 30s.
I don't like nothing. No physical material possession would ever be me worth waiting in line. Like I find that amazing. So I think this.
well, if you've got nothing else to do, it's like,
Yeah,
you know
I
what?
love the experience. Yeah, I love the experience, man.
I'm just drinking coffee in the morning anyway. Might as well go sit and talk to
But
people.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't decide until like the night before.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I
wouldn't
drove by.
do
It's like,
that.
I wonder if it's worth it to wait in line. And I drove by the Best Buy, and there was some people waiting in line. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went back home, got a chair or something like that, and came back. And by the time I got back, the line about Best Buy just all of a sudden wrapped around the building.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I wonder if Target, which is in the same mall, it was just upstairs from the mall. I was like, I wonder if there's a line at Target. And got to the Target, and I was like, oh, if I wait in line at Target, I'd be number 5. I don't know. Like nobody downstairs at Best Buy thought about coming upstairs to
Well,
Target.
nobody really thought of Target as video games, right? That's the Best Buy GameSpot, right?
Yeah.
It's FOMO. Exactly. I remember having no problems buying a Dreamcast. I remember having no problems finding.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dreamcast wasn't exactly a hit
that's
when
awesome.
it came out.
You can use like other resources and find. So yeah, it's FOMO.
Well, I mean, there was no lineup for
Go
PS2s.
live. I don't get it.
Yeah, except I managed to pre-order my PS2 like 8 months ahead of time at GameStop. That was back when they did that.
Yeah.
PS2, I had no problem.
Same thing.
Like, I got my PS2 like 4 or 5 days after launch. Walked into EB Games, and there it was.
Yep.
Like,
Listen, it's the whole thing with consumerism. People
it's
having the
scalpers now.
bigger and faster thing, don't wanting to wait. See, my whole thing is, and I'll go on record saying this: the only reason to ever get a Switch 2 is if you care about the Nintendo first-party titles. Otherwise, you're better off going PC gaming and having all the benefits and discounts and not having to worry about losing your digital content.
I think you're probably right there because that's why I get my Switch. For the indie games because no one knew Switch 2 was going to be an indie machine like it was. I
Yeah.
love that, but for physical indie anyway. And then it's Nintendo games. It's Mario games. There's no other
Yeah.
place to play them.
Yep. Yep.
And Nintendo's brilliant because they've latched onto that, and that's what they mainly have. But I kind of feel like people are told that like, oh, this is the next console, and people rush out and get it. I'm like, if you do a little research, there's other options.
Yeah.
There's so many other options.
The funny thing though too is it's not just limited to game consoles because recently Nvidia released their 50 series, and like every card that they released in the 50 series, there was a line outside, like for Micro
Yeah, I
Center.
saw that up here too. Like you got to get a mortgage to get one of those cards up here.
Yeah, and those things you're talking, they could go upwards to $2,000
Dude,
for normal price.
You got to be so sweaty of a gamer for that even makes sense. Like I'm going to tell you something, right? We cannot optimize games fast enough to take advantage of those hardware. So if you got like a 3070, you're still good for 90% of all games coming out because trust me, they were in development when that cart was not even out yet. Like it's like those carts, those 50 series they're really 50 and 40 series. You don't need them.
Well, we're talking about people that'll like, oh man, I'm only getting 120 frames out of this game. I need a new video card.
Those are like
gamers.
They just like live in their parents' basement, and that's their life, and they don't mean seriously.
Yeah, and it's like, but no, developers can't take advantage of it. Like unless you start developing your game right now with the 50 series out with 4 firmwares up it, and you only started developing now, that's the games will benefit from it. Yeah. But you know what? Guess what? Developers won't do that even then, because they'll look at Steam hardware survey and say 80% of all gamers are using a 2080. Fact. And they'll start developing their game as that's their benchmark.
Right.
They'll look at that. It's same as like, that's what you develop for. Like our game, when we developed it, was 1080. 1080s when we started developing our game.
Yeah.
1080s. Now our min spec is a 2080 on the NVIDIA side. You can put a 4070 out, you'll be able to push the limit, but you're not getting anything extra special. You're going to get access to upscaling technology, rendering technology, lighting technology, but those are all settings that are off by default and detected on hardware when aligned. So, like, you know, at the end of the day, 5070s and 4070s especially, we won't see those games until 2 years from now that are really, that's what they were focusing on for the majority of their development. That's just how
actually it's sometimes it's a certain game too, like the Indiana Jones, The Great Circle. That all of a sudden required ray tracing, so people had to get a new video card if they didn't
because
have one.
They signed a special deal with a card manufacturers, and that happens all the time. Like, you know, AMD will call and say, hey, you know what? We'll put you on our advertising. Can we send you the latest firmware? Can you say you're putting FSR4 in our game? Which I'm going to tell you what FSR4 is actually just FSR 3.1. That's what it is. It's a firmware upgrade. But it allows that marketing and that messaging to go on. And same as DLSS on NVIDIA. So it's all, yeah.
Retro Card Duel, you've been missing out. You have been missing out big time.
Yeah, it's like once you get a taste of it, you're like, wait a minute, these games are, you pay a lot more for the hardware, but the games are way cheaper than anything you'd get on a console.
You don't even have to pay more for the hardware.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to, but in any decent PC is going to cost more than a console.
Yeah, that's true.
It depends on
that slowly closing though.
Yeah, that's true.
For like $300 to $400, you can put a decent video card like in an older Dell, and you can play like a lot of. It just depends what you want to play.
It all depends on your game too, right? So if your game is online focused, it will always be CPU starved, and if your game is offline focused, it's more balanced and is GPU starved from a resource perspective. So it all depends on your game too, right? So if you're a game that's like an open world game that's not online, your CPU bounds is much lower. But if you're on like a Fortnite or a Starship Troopers extermination game or something like that, you are CPU bound because it's the server cost and the server traffic and the replication between server and client. So there's a whole ball game there. So it depends on the game too, right? So what hardware you need. So you could put a 4070 in on a online game, and actually you need a better GPU than a graphics card.
Yeah. But I mean, PC games go on sale. There's like, in my opinion, it's the easiest platform to develop for. You don't have to buy all these
150%, but it's also the hardest to develop for because the hardware set is so ranged that you don't know based on what person has. The tricky part is you only have, you have that trick, but you also got to understand is a lot of gamers have a lot of things going on their computer that aren't related to the game. Like they could have Excel, so they could be doing video editing, they could be watching movies. All of that are fighting for threads on your GPU and your CPU, your render thread, and your gameplay tick thread. So it's easiest to get into, one of the hardest things to master. Now, console, hard to get into, controlled hardware set, controlled ecosystem, easier to develop for. So that's the realm you have to look at.
Yeah. And that's what I love about the Steam Deck, because then you have a specific hardware specifications. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. I've been doing it for 30 years, bud. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No.
That's why I'm sitting back listening, because it's like it's fascinating.
That's always been common sense to me. Like I've always known.
Yeah. It's so easy. Anybody can put a game on Steam and PC, but if you can get it to master everybody's hardware, that's the hard part. It is so hard.
Yeah. But Steam
Deck,
Steam
forums are so challenging, right? Because oh my God, I've got your min spec. I don't understand. Like, and I'm like, okay, great. You're crashing? Yep. Like, what else is going on your computer? Like, what else is
Right.
going on, right?
If
Like,
somebody,
Yeah.
yeah.
bad
those
memory
don't
could be
come
bad
out.
memory.
Yeah.
If people, if you're not like, if they have like a bunch of applications open, that's
Yeah,
a
and no,
huge-
it's crazy. We all know it ourselves, right? You play a game and you're playing game and you're capturing video at the same time of that game, and you're complaining about performance drops. It's on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
It's on you, right?
Exactly.
It's so crazy, man. Like, it's
Yeah, right,
funny.
right.
Like, I'll be at work and I'll be playing our game, but I got the editor open, and I'm like, "Whoa, I got a frame rate drop here!" And then all of a sudden, an engineer comes over, and I'm like, "I got a frame rate drop." Told you a million times, close the editor when you're playing the game. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, they kind of do. I mean, that's what the Steam Deck is, but like
Yeah,
the
it's hard.
early access. That's like early access of games. Like there's just so many benefits, and then if you go the Steam route, you're safe. I don't see Steam.
It's funny. It's like Linux would be awesome, but I'm going to tell you, anybody in software development will tell you, the easiest path to good software is consistency in the software that's enabling you to do it and the hardware that you want to run it on. And Linux is just not consistent enough. At least Windows, good or bad,
Yeah.
it's level. It doesn't change. Like, the distributions don't change and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a
No,
lot
100%.
of.
That's what protons are for.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, I
Steam
think
Deck.
Steam's done an amazing job with their protons. Like, that's enabling so many games to run on my Steam Deck.
Heck
right?
yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
But yeah, no. Good.
Oh, I agree, man. 10-year-old games still look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They still look like, I mean, there hasn't been leaps and bounds. Like, there's like, tell me a game on the PS5 like is pushed so far past PS4.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's at least
Not really, man.
at least in these old man eyes, I agree with you. I mean, there's you know,
What
there's
pushes
nothing
it
that
is
looks pretty,
the
but-
new rendering tech, the Lumen lighting system, your DLS and FSR technology, that upscale stuff. That's what's pushing it, but it's being pushed not by the engines, but by these third-party GPU groups that are actually pushing them further because they're developing technology that takes able to upscale. Same as like AI right now. You can put a picture on in a website in AI and you can make them talk. A static picture. Put some audio with it and you can make them talk and it looks like it's fully animated. If you look at it, it looks gross, but from afar it looks okay.
Yeah.
But like, it's this technology is just pushing stuff so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the lines become blurred. Like for me, when I play a video game, I want to know it's a video game. I don't want to play a movie.
Yeah, you don't want the uncanny valley, and that's one of the biggest
I
struggles.
mean, I don't want that. I think it's great.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of people struggle with in movies and in gaming and entertainment. It's like, how far do you push fidelity before it starts getting unsettling? And if you ever watched the first Hobbit movie, the first of the Hobbit movies, where he pushed it at 120 frames per second, I believe, and it did such a high level of fidelity, it made people uncomfortable in the movie theater because it was the zooming in of the cooking of this egg that Bilbo was doing. I remember watching it, I mean, this is very unsettling. It's like it felt like you were in the scene, which when film, it's at a lower frame rate and it feels okay. You're watching something unfold, but you're not in it. So like I always use that analogy too. In gaming, sometimes you can push the cleanness of it too far and the fidelity that it just doesn't feel right when you're playing it.
It's like every time I go to my sister's house and watch something on their TV, they have the setting turn on where it adds extra frames to everything, and it all looks very weird to me. But to
that's
them,
in
it looks
gaming
normal.
now. Frame skipping. That's in gaming. That's a new technology that NVIDIA's got out, and frame sampling it's called. We use it. We use it a lot. I have to turn it off. I am so tuned to a frame rate from whether it's the gameplay thread or the rendering thread. I can tell you exactly what's going on when my frame rate drops, whether on gameplay or rendering, that any small deviant from it could be unsettling. It just isn't. It doesn't feel right. I call it heavy sticks. That's what I call it. Like if you play a game, when you feel the frame drop in the gameplay thread, you get heavy sticks. It just doesn't feel great. And that is a hard thing, especially in a first-person shooter where you need really, really good controls. It annoys me.
Mm.
Yeah, the soap opera effect. Yeah, exactly. I like that though. Heavy stick.
Yeah, it is, and that's what when you ever watch The Hobbit, man. Too bad you can't watch it in theaters again. I can remember watching it. I almost had to leave theater. I'm like, oh, this is not right. Like, I don't know why he chose it, and it was only that scene. He did it in the whole movie. It was that scene.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Yeah, why would they do that? It's so weird.
Yeah,
exactly.
But he did something similar in Batman 2, The Dark Knight. There's the intro of that movie is filmed in IMAX with 4K back when it wasn't as popular.
Yeah.
And it's so unsettling, those first couple scenes.
Yeah.
Bank robbery, that first look, he did that. That's what Nolan did.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I was there in the
Whoa,
theater.
this
They actually
is
changed
too
the
high
aspect
of a
ratio.
fidelity.
Yeah, like if you had one of those, if you were in one of those theaters that was suited for it, they actually changed the aspect ratio of the film as you were watching it. That freaked me out too.
Why so serious?
Yeah, I can nerd out on this stuff forever, but
that's good stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool stuff. It's hard.
Yeah, a live action. Yeah, why?
That's why I'm not allowed on Steam forums and stuff, because I'll just ban everybody. Such a low tolerance for BS. I'm like, you're banned. You're banned. You're banned.
Just drop hammers.
Oh yeah, ban hammers.
Ban hammers.
But
I'll try to do that.
Speaking of things that are involving Evercade, real quick.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
We never talked about Evercade in the last 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, right.
True.
Did anyone?
What is it?
Anyone get one of these?
What is it?
Is that? It's probably from Fun Stock. Are you talking about?
Yeah.
Is that your
You got
two
some more
games?
stocks?
It's the new one. It's the new games.
What ones?
It's Atari 2.
Oh,
okay.
you mean this? Welcome
I
to
know.
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually
But
opened
you should
mine
know
up
that.
this-
You can watch this video I did on the channel now.
Hey, right.
I just opened these, and the only reason I opened them was so I could scan the manuals and copy the cartridges.
Oh, there you go.
I really like the fact that they put the marquees in. Like, I thought that was really cool.
Oh, that is cool.
I wish they would have did all 10, but like, where's my
Well,
other
you got the
one?
ones that mattered though.
Yeah.
You got Berserk and Frenzy, so we're good.
Oh, man.
I did get the
I
hat
still
trick.
like Frenzy more than Berserk.
If so, does it smell strange?
What is
I don't know, because I can't smell, so that's a thing I can't do anymore. Thanks 2020.
Oh,
Yeah, that was my consolation prize. Got alpha. No more smells. Does your hat smell like fish? Wow.
I don't get why would
Mine
that?
smells
Wait a
of
minute,
vomit. What is there something
After
wrong?
the last 10 minutes, they stopped looking at chat. They all get like
I'm gonna give it to somebody. When I do the box
off
opening,
the rails.
I'll make sure I do the box opening with Gunzy in the room.
Were they having fish and chips when they were packing it up or something?
Can I
You're
can.
gonna say fish and chips.
I
I've
can.
been craving fish and chips for like a month now, and I haven't had it.
Yeah, Gordon, I can taste. It's because it's my nasal passage. Everything all the way to the back of my nasal passage is gone. They're all just all the nerve endings are probably fried from whatever this nonsense.
Now's your time for your wife
But
to just give you veggies all the time. You can't taste them anyway.
But no, I can, because in the back, all of the back nerve endings. If I breathe in, I can breathe taste. It's weird.
I'd be tricking you all the time.
It's so weird.
I'm gonna make a shirt that says that.
Evercade smells like calamari.
Yeah.
Calamari. Gross.
Fire Truck is just an infuriating game unless you're playing the proper arcade game. Oh yeah.
I think my arcade has it, so I'm going to try to. I don't know if it works though, but I want to go in and play it in arcade because it is pretty frustrating. Well, not frustrating, just hard to control on the Evercade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a natural controller. Fire Truck is not a natural control scheme.
Nope. Not natural at all about that game.
No.
Yep.
They have that at Fun Spot.
I was kind of surprised when they said when that was put on there. I haven't played it yet, but it was an unusual cabinet. You needed 2 steering wheels, and so I don't know how that's going to translate.
I got a. Have you guys ever heard of the Electric Playground TV show?
Yes.
Okay, so every Saturday, I don't know if you know this, they've been releasing their classic TV shows on their YouTube channel, It is
Oh,
so
okay.
cool, man. Like every Saturday, you can watch a full episode of their show from like 1990s, 95, stuff like that.
Oh, they're putting all the G4 stuff out.
All the G4,
That's
yeah, it was
awesome.
on G4 down there, I guess. Up here, it was on regular TV. But yes, so
Yeah.
today's episode is season 5, episode 6, Tony Hawk 2, Quake 3 Arena. So
Oh,
it's
that's
just cool.
awesome.
They just
What's-
put them out like
what's-
that.
What's the YouTube channel? Is it?
Like Electric Playground.
Oh,
Electric Playground.
so it's like, oh, well, I
Yeah.
didn't know if it might be something
Yeah.
else too.
Man, why can I not remember his name?
Check out
Victor
Stargate
Lucas.
if you want to see something.
Yeah, Luke,
really
Lucas. That's right.
Yeah. He lives about 25 minutes that way.
Does he really?
Oh yeah, he's,
Well,
yeah.
You ever met him?
Yes. Geez,
That's
3 or
awesome.
4 times.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, he's cool,
Well,
dude, man.
That's kind of the Evercade. They don't care how a game plays. They'll just put it on a cart. That's they've been doing that for a long time. That's what the whole Super Pockets kind of are made up of, games like that.
Just for you, Ed. They do that.
Yeah.
Just for you.
Yeah. Let's put some fighting games on the Super Pocket and see how well they play.
Yeah, I still don't get that one. I'm like, that one's like annoying.
To be honest, since I modded it, I can actually play Street Fighter on it now.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Oh, you modded it?
Yeah, I made it so you can actually pivot the D-pad.
Oh,
It
oh
only,
yeah, you
it
said
only
you did
took a
that.
piece of plastic. Like it only took like the smallest piece of plastic I 3D printed to put in there, and it worked.
Yeah, you mentioned you did that. I completely forgot.
See, it's amazing that like they allow that to go out through quality control. So it's just, I don't know. It's kind of interesting with the Super Pockets in general. Supposedly the Neo Geo one was better, but I'll never know.
Yeah, you will know because I'll get it and I'll tell you, and then you'll know.
Yeah, but I want
That's
to.
hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be something because like when it comes to controls and everything, I'm like
What is the Super
maybe
Pocket?
I'm more sense. I don't know. I'm very particular, and I think I don't know. I feel like with like the Codemasters collections, like people like a certain side of people love that, and like, oh my god, like Boomerang Kid, don't even get me started.
I actually liked Boomerang Kid.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I just thought it was funny he didn't throw his boomerang.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing about it. He's called Boomerang Kid, yet you can't throw
Yet
the
he doesn't
boomerang.
throw his boomerang.
Yeah.
You dropped what hints? What hints? No, I would love for Blaze to sub because Ryan was bragging about how they improved the
Oh
controls.
yeah, they'll probably send you one.
No, they won't. I doubt it. I would love that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't talk to
They
me.
have an internal
Thunder
rule,
Force.
I think. That's certain. They have an internal rule.
Yeah.
They have an internal rule that says you can't talk to Ed. So.
Yeah,
But
that's
Thunder
I'm
Force.
serious. Probably they do. They probably do.
no. Well, they were run the show before, so
No, then at some point, usually what'll happen then at some point, like Sean and Ryan's like, okay, we've heard enough crap. Let's go on Evercast and try to set some things straight.
Hmm.
You know. And then last time when I saw Sean came on, he looked very tired. He had gray hair, and I didn't want to. I felt like life had already beat him up, so I didn't want to beat him up on certain things. So I tried to ask stuff that I thought maybe he could answer. So even though there's things,
It's all good.
you know, it's all good. Like I would like to ask him like why do you all put the games like Fire Truck on there? And I think maybe they feel like
they have history. That's why.
yeah, but that doesn't mean it should be there. That's what's
Well,
baffling.
Why
Like-
not? Yeah.
If the option was okay, a collection of 9 games or a collection of 10 games, and that 10th game is Fire Truck, so just do the 10 games. Why not?
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's it.
I think from a perspective of creating content, I think it's great. But I think maybe from like a customer standpoint, like be like, why do you put this unplayable game on here that's gonna make me mad? You know, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, isn't it on Atari 50?
I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Fire Truck's on Atari
It
50.
should be. If it,
I think so.
I keep
one of
meaning
the
to go
first
back to that, and I never have.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Ah.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. They gave us exactly no, and that's where I kind of say like you want some things like functional.
I think it's part of the deal they signed. Probably it's like, hey, you get these bangers, but you got to take this crap too, baby.
exactly. Why? Yeah, thank you. Why else would you put it on there? That's what I kind of feel.
Yeah,
It's,
Oh shit!
it's all
9:30.
marketing.
I gotta go meet a guy about a GameCube.
Really?
All right, so we
Yeah,
should
I'm
probably,
getting my GameCube modded,
That's awesome.
so I can play like
The HDMI.
HDMI is getting done. I think he's gonna fix my Game Boy Player. Kind of doesn't connect well, so
Huh.
he's got to take a look at that.
All right.
But he's gonna mod it so it becomes region free, which he said he'll do that as a part of it for free. So I'm like, okay, that's okay. Because I only have like 8 GameCube games, but I still need to probably get a couple more that I have interest in, but we'll see.
I was gonna say I've had that forever. Like with the Wii, it's basically the Wii is a GameCube, and that's like you have to have a GameCube game.
I hate the Wii.
I've had that forever. I've thought about getting an adapter to play for HDMI, but I'm chargeable.
Isn't there an HDMI out or adapt? Yeah, I think there might be an adapter for the Wii. Yeah.
The
Probably at an old
yeah,
retro store, you probably get one cheaper if you were looking. Like I'm sure they got them in like bins there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know the pound cables are cheap because I only paid $29 for my pound cable for my Xbox. So that was Canadian, so I can't imagine more than 75 cents American.
I wish the Wii had well, I mean, to say that is to just have someone tell you to get a Wii U, but like I wish the Wii was
No one
capable.
could ever buy a Wii U. I have one.
Well, I mean, I was like, what I was about to say was like, I wish the Wii actually did proper HD,
Yeah.
and or at least 720p because it never did. It was 40p.
I wonder will the Wii ever become collectible because they sold like a billion of
You
them?
could. That's not fair. It's not entirely fair to say because you could hook up component cables to the Wii and get 1080i out of it.
Yeah.
You can do a 4:3 aspect ratio too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, in fact, I have mine hooked up. I have it hooked up to. I have my Wii hooked up to a CRT that happens to be 16:9 ratio, and it works fine. It even does the aspect ratio correctly.
What's the best Wii game?
Oh well, I'll tell you. There's a reason why the Wii, I think, is one of the Nintendo's best modern consoles because that had Virtual Console and it was awesome.
I think the Wii is an amazing console. I just didn't like the controls for.
I'll tell you what.
I had I like having this in my hand. I don't like having to do all that kind of stuff. That's me. But
you know what the best Wii game is? It's Wii Sports. It's Wii Sports because when I was selling the Wii, that's all anybody cared about. Do you have Wii Sports?
How many Wiis were bought by people that never bought any other games? Just at that. It's like the Game Boy. How many people own the Game Boy and just Tetris?
You know what's funny is when my dad comes in to visit from Arizona, when he goes to my nieces, he's like, hook up Wii Sports. Let's play Wii Sports. I'm going to play in bowling.
Yeah. There's a reason.
I mean, there's a lot of people. Like my parents-in-law had a Wii, and they only ever played Wii Sports and Wii Fit. They had the board.
Yeah. That's it.
Crazy. Yeah, I should go, I guess.
All right.
Let's plug stuff. Yeah, no, this has been a great show.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'll plug the fact that so this collection's up right now for members can view it until they have early access to it. So go check that out. And that's some more content coming. I said I wasn't gonna do this one, but I think my members and the rest of the channels need to see me suffer through these 2 games. So we'll do that.
Nice.
That's it for me.
Cool. Well, I'm back. I'm not on a boat anymore. So
I'm on a boat.
Yeah.
There's a song called
Every time anybody says that, that's what I think of. Yeah.
Exactly. But I do have this stack of games that we should go through and fun for 5. So that'll probably be this week.
Wait a minute. I didn't realize they released so many of them.
Yeah, they're up to 8.
Probably maybe or whatever.
You gotta catch up.
I think somebody smuggled the last 2 into Canada for me, please.
How much did each one of those cost?
Let me know, man. I'll do it.
Yeah, send me the last 2, Rick.
You want Breakers and Tamade? You need those?
Please. I'll PayPal you.
All right. Yeah, hit me up.
Yeah.
We'll hook it up.
All right. I got to be careful, though, because I'm still waiting for my Katie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. What you talking about? Oh,
Stupid
yeah.
box is
yeah,
sitting there
I
for
forgot
3
about
years.
Hey Rich, order those 2 cartridges for me, and I'll send you. Let me know in Discord, and it's maybe throw my Katie in there too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you
Yes.
ever send us the Katie's, 3D print that thing Crow is talking about for the Super Pocket and toss that in there, and I'll
Wait,
do
what
search
thing
for
for the
them.
Super Pocket?
Oh, I three for the Super Pocket. All I did was I 3D printed like a little circle, and it's like not more than 1 or 2 layers big, probably 3 layers, whatever. It's got a little indent in it, and then I just put it in the Super Pocket for the D-pad, and that's what fixes the D-pad.
I should send you a postage stamp and just be like, send that to me.
All right. Yeah, sounds
In
good.
fact, on the I got the idea from the
You just
Discord
say you're
because
gonna send
they
me a
put a
postage
link
stamp?
to a video where somebody fixed it, and all I did was, you don't even really need that. You can test it out yourself with a piece of cardboard because that's all they used in the video. It's like, well, I wonder if I could just 3D print something.
All right. Yeah, send me the STL. I'll print it out.
Let me, if I can find it again, I'll put it. I'll just put it in the Discord.
Nice.
Nerd.
All right, sounds good. So anyway,
So I
that's
should
me.
mention. So I should mention in a couple hours. Yes, I will have my birthday extravaganza.
Oh, it's your birthday! Happy birthday!
Thank you. Well, it's the 29th isn't until Tuesday, but I can't, stream during the week on a work night, so I'm doing that today. Thank you. Back by popular demand. People were asking me for it, so I'm like, yes, I'll do it again. So I'll come back in a few hours, and next week I'll talk about that. So that's
All right, I am popping out. I've got to go. Bye, everyone.
All
See
right,
ya.
bye.
Bye, everybody. Yeah, I think we could call it. Thanks, Crashline, Immortal Sojourn, Amber Cummings, Joe Whitlush, Alex Groot.